Hi everyone! Today's video is a little special because I want to show you my book collection. I love talking about books, I love reading them, I love sharing really good books with my friends and my sisters, and I thought it was a good idea to share some with you. And at the end, I'll give you some of my favorite books of all time. So right from the start, we have the Harry Potter collection. The first collection we see on the right here is the ones in Korean. My mom bought this for my older sister when we all still lived in Korea. And on the top here, we have a book called 백범 일지. I had to read that in high school for a Korean class I had. I still have that book. And then to the left here, I have the Harry Potter books in English. We have the whole collection. I don't think we're missing any of it. I actually read it in college and I finally realized why it's so popular. And on top here, I have Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, which I read in high school. And then if you go to the left here, I have more books. On the right, we have Roald Dahl. These were my favorite books in elementary. I think the most famous one is Charlie and the... Oh, not this one. The most famous one is... I think it's this one. Yeah. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I'm pretty sure they have this in movie, and it's such a good book. I love Roald Dahl books. They're so creative. And then we have The Girl on the Train. This is sort of like a thriller. You're trying to find out about this couple and how they're so mysterious. It gets a little crazy towards the end though. And we have 13 Reasons Why, which was a famous Netflix show, and I got the book because I love the show as well. And then we have Dreams of Joy by Lisa C, which was also good. And then we have Kim Ji-young, Year of 82. I was very interested in reading this, so I actually bought it used from someone here in LA. And it was so short. I wish it was a little longer, but it was really good. And then the next book is Escape from Camp 14. This is a book about a North Korean who escaped North Korea, and I got this book in high school at some kind of event. I think the author even signed it. Let me see. Yep. He even signed it. It was a very interesting book. Next book, I have Suspect, which is sort of a thriller too. I got this at I think I got it at a thrift store for like $1 or $2. It was pretty good. It was really fast reading. And then I have the Hunger Games collection, which is very good. And then down here, I have the Divergent collection. I also have The Fault in Our Stars. And then I have My Sister's Keeper. I think that's also a movie as well. And then to the bottom here, so on the top, I have Memoirs of a Geisha. It's a story about a geisha in Japan. And then we have Big Little Lies. I actually read this a couple months ago. It's so famous, so I got it, and it is really good. It's very good at grabbing the attention of the reader. And then the rest of these, most of them are classics, like George Orwell, 1984. I had to read this in high school and I hated it. And I read it again in college, I think 4 years ago. And this is one of my favorite books. It's so good and it's so relevant to this time, even though it was written decades ago. And then we have Ayn Rand's Atlas Shrugged. I still haven't read this one yet because it's really dense. Like, if you look inside, it's really dense, and it was hard for me to get it at first, so I still need to try it again. And then I have the Sophie's World that I had to read in high school. And then I have Strengths Finder, which sort of talks about the strengths of you as a person. And then I have John Steinbeck's book Of Mice and Men, The Pearl East of Eden, which is still good. And then we have all these classics like Odyssey, Frankenstein, The Origin of Species, and we have Scarlet Letter, Arthur Miller books. They're all pretty good. I'm thinking of reading Scarlet Letter again later. And then we actually have another copy of John Steinbeck's, Shakespeare, and Frank. They're all pretty good. But these were all classics. And then moving on here is like some of my favorite books that I actually read recently. So the first one I have is 엄마를 부탁해, Please Look After My Mom by Shin Kyung-suk. and it's about a mom they lose, like she's missing. And then we have the collection of The Girl in the Spider's Web. So the first book I actually lent it to a friend, so I don't have it, but I have this one, I have another one here, and I think I have another one in my desk. It's pretty good. I love the series. And I don't know if you could tell, but I love Amy Tan books. So I have Amy Tan here. I have another one down here. They're pretty good. I have All the Light We Cannot See. I know this is a really famous book, but something about it was really hard for me to finish. I don't know what it was, but it was a very hard book for me to finish. But I know some people love it, so I guess it's a hit or miss. And then we have Harper Lee's Go Set a Watchman. Educated was a pretty good memoir. Reading this makes me realize how privileged I am to be getting an education. It was a pretty good sort of eye-opening book. Next book I have is Pedro and Me. I got this book for free in college. It was one of UCLA's common books, so they give it out for free. And it's about a book of a friend who gets AIDS and dies, and it's in a comic form, so it's very easy to read. And I finished it in like one bus ride to school, and it's pretty good. And then we have one of my favorite books, Becoming. It's by Michelle Obama. It was such a good read, and just reading her book makes you realize how, you should really work hard for things you want, and just work hard in general. And now I have The Best We Could Do, which was also a free book I got from UCLA. It's about an Asian American family who immigrates to America and the struggles they go through. And now I have Dan Brown's book, which are both very famous, Angel and Demons, The Lost Symbol. And down here I have Egalia's Daughter. This book is very eye-opening because it reverses the roles of men and women, right? The stereotypical roles, and it really makes you realize how women are very sort of put in this kind of stereotype of how to act and how to be in our world, and it switches it around, and it's very interesting. So the next book is Forever, and actually took me forever to read, but it was really good. It's based in New York, and it's very interesting. I have another Amy Tan book, and then we have The Bad Feminist, which sort of talks about women in this. And I have AK-84 by Haruki Murakami, which was honestly very hard for me to finish as well. I honestly don't really get why some people hype about the book, but it wasn't bad. But I don't know if it's like the hands down my best book. And then Ta-Nehisi Coates, I got that from school as well. It's pretty good. It's a letter a dad writes for his son. Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine was a pretty good book as well. And then we have another Dan Brown book, Da Vinci Code. Over here I have other books I read. Some of them I already read, some of them I need to read. This is sort of like my to-read pile. So the book on the top is the next book on the list, From the Girl Who Plays with Fire. And then the next one is Everything I Never Told You and Untamed. These two are like the favorites. It's really, really good. I highly recommend it. And then the next books, I have to read all of them. I haven't read any of them. I'm trying to get to them, so I put them on this pile. I also have a pile of books next to my bed that I try to read before going to bed. The first book is Behind Closed Doors. I heard this is really good, so I started reading it, but it's large print edition, so my eyes sort of hurt when I read this, so I don't read a ton at a time for this one. And I have Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Wall. I got this for free from school as well, and I started it, but yeah, I barely read it with this one, but I'm gonna keep trying with this. The next book is a really famous book, Thinking Fast and Slow. I read just half of it. I think right by the middle, I think. Sort of. Anyways, I read about half. It's been 2 years since I got this, but it's so dense because it's sort of like, it's like psychology plus econ plus a bunch of other things, and it's really, really dense, so I only read half. And then this other notebook I got, I just have quotes from the book that I really like. I barely started writing it, so I don't have much. And then the last book is Obama's book, Barack Obama, A Promising Land. I read about half of this one as well. Oh no, my book. So I read about half and I really need to get to it, but it's a lot more, it talks a lot more about politics than Michelle Obama's book. It's still good. So if I had to pick a few books to recommend, the first one would be this one, Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ning. I don't know if I'm saying her name correctly, but she has another book she wrote, Little Fires Everywhere. That's a show on Hulu. I highly recommend that one as well. It's really, really good. The next one is Untamed. Oh, this is my glass wipe thing. Untamed by Glennon Doyle. This book is so good. I even posted it. I even made post-its to parts I really like. I even posted it like right here. My favorite part of the book. But honestly, like each chapter is only like a few pages. Look, like 2 pages each chapter. So, you know, you could read a chapter a night, but I highly recommend this book. And the last book I highly recommend is Pachinko. It's about like Koreans living in Japan, and it's really good. It's pretty thick, but you get there so fast. And I have the book, but I lent it to my older sister, so I don't have to copy. But it's a very good book as well. I hope you enjoyed the video of my book collection. Super not big, but I thought it would be interesting. And I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.